Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Paramistic Christina. I'm your host, Christina Bloom, and today I have a very good friend of mine, somebody who I actually he's a mentor, he's an amazing human being, and it's his fault I'm here doing this because he taught me how to do this. Todd Bates. Welcome, Todd. How are you?
Hi, Christina. Oh my goodness, it's so good to see you again. It's been forever and a day and a half.
I know, and we used to talk like several times a week.
It was crazy.
Yeah,
Oh, I miss everybody so much, but I try and keep in touch out there. I've been doing good.
yeah.
Just kind of things are slowing down at work, still guarding the candy.
Mm-hmm. Gotta guard
Yeah,
the candy.
gotta guard the candy. And there's a lot of things have slowed down, so there's been a lot of downtime. Sherry and I are doing great, and just kind of taking some time to myself to reboot a little bit. I think
Awesome.
I was starting to kind of spiral again into that radio rat race,
Yeah,
and I had to just stop the whole thing. I had to, because you know how long I've done haunted voices, and
yeah.
that show, of course, will always have a place in my heart. But I had to retire it. It's
Okay.
just it went to the side that I didn't want it to go. Its original state was electronic voice phenomenon.
Right.
That's a passion of mine. And it kind of went into everything else, like a paranormal talk show, which is fine,
Right.
but it evolved into something I didn't want it to.
Gotcha.
So
That
I,
makes
I had
sense.
I had to pull the reins on that little fella. And it's okay. Its shows are still on YouTube and all over the internet for people to watch and stuff if you miss it. But there's just, I'm getting back to my roots a little bit too. Um, you know, in this field especially, a lot of people have forgotten where they came from, so to speak.
Yeah.
We all started as new people. We all started with this fresh uh glimpse in our eye, and we had this motivation, this ambition to seek life after death, to simply see if there was something on the other side.
Right.
And so many get stuck in the limelight, the likes, the follows, the this that we're kind of I think the community's losing touch on why we're here.
I agree. I
And
agree. Yeah, definitely.
it's time for a change. Time for a little change. Bring a little retro back, have some fun.
Yeah. And I want to hear all about this retro because I have never recorded EVP the way that you do. And actually, I'm very new to EVP.
Hmm.
I because I'm psychic, I never needed EVP to communicate.
Right.
But it is
Right.
kind of addictive to listen
It
to the voices on a recording.
it's very addictive.
Yeah.
And electronic voice phenomena, I became obsessed with it back in the day. It was my go-to. It was my delayed communication. It is what changed me from a skeptic to a believer,
Yeah.
was a sound from beyond. And once you have that happen to you, it's very difficult to say, "Oh, I don't believe in that anymore." It's very hard to do that. You just
Right.
have to, you know, get to the point, get to the experience out there in the field with electronic voice phenomena to be comfortable enough to be around um, death and to
Yeah.
communicate with those that have crossed on. Because not everybody can do that. That's not an easy thing because you never know what's going to come through on this little recorder.
Oh, no
But the
kidding.
beauty, the beauty of the analog recording, Christina, is it's an untapped resource. We've pretty much given up on it, on researching its abilities as far as the magnetic tape itself. You put a cassette tape into a recorder, well, it's going to rub against those heads. It's going to create a static energy, which I believe that's what spirits consist of. It's very natural,
Mm-hmm.
and they consist of that, and they imprint themselves onto these tapes somehow. Now, the equipment these days is it can be a little more expensive. It's a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more expensive way to record, but they're going out spending five, six, $700 on all these other devices. You could probably start this for less than $200.
Okay. And
This is a
yeah.
hobby. You can you just need a simple shoebox cassette recorder.
Mm-hmm.
It's called a shoebox cassette recorder. And you're going to need what's called an audio patch cable. And every Walmart in town has these things now. They are female to female or male to male, excuse me, male to male patch cables. Like you plug your headphones in and then then you put the other one in the car in the auxiliary or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Those kinds of jacks. They're called
Okay.
patch cables. And you get those, and then you can even connect it to your computer and analyze it. So
Right.
there's so many things you can do with them, but they imprint easier, I feel, on the magnetic tape as to where the digital you're going to get more, but they're going to be of less quality. Um, they're going to have. I mean, today's recorders are a lot better than what they were back in the day, but they'll have each one has a distinct sound. The digital recorder uses what are called samples to record, so it's going to be a digital sounding sound in the background
Right.
as to where the magnetic tape is going to have the white noise in the background due to it rubbing across the heads of the recorder.
So there is still white noise.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
There's still that in there. And there's different things which I'll be teaching later on next year, but there's different things that I'm going to be doing I've done as far as um, EVP recording using analog equipment. You introduce something like white noise, pink noise, brown noise into the room. I tested this several times at the Sally House, and it just increases. You're going to feel a little bit more tension. Don't get me wrong; it's going to feel a little tense in there, but it also increases the activity and it makes the imprints even stronger whenever you introduce like a conduit like white noise or something like that.
Okay.
It works as a gateway, I think, for them to communicate. Not necessarily, I don't think all of them just walk up and talk, hey, how you doing? To the microphone. I think they physically imprint themselves onto the magnetics of the tape somehow.
Okay.
Because I have done some things at a little schoolhouse, Christina, in Annapolis,
Uh-huh.
a little Quaker schoolhouse where I recorded without a microphone. I disconnected the microphone from the shoebox recorder and I did capture a little girl saying stop. And I captured an EVP with no microphone. So tell me how that popped on there. It
Right.
had to be imprinted somehow. And I used to do little stuff like that all the time. And I'm finally getting back into it, working my brain a little bit, um, back into these little projects I used to do, these experiments I used to do with different noises, static electricity, so many different things you can do out there. It's more a recording session is more than just whipping out a ghost box, putting on a set of headphones and listening.
Right.
So much more goes into it. You've got to prepare the area,
Mm-hmm.
you know. There's just oh my goodness, so much fun though. It is
It
such a
is.
blast.
It really can be. There's sometimes like I've heard I'm really bad at following through sometimes, but I have a
Oh
bunch of
no.
recordings on my uh, spirit box. My husband gave me a spirit box this year for my birthday.
Yeah.
And so I have probably 5 or 6 recordings on there that I keep intending to load onto my computer, put them into Audition, and, stretch them out so I can actually hear the words. And
Yep.
I just haven't gotten it done, but I think that that would be fun to do. Um, I think I have not really been a proponent of EVP until this summer. And this summer, what happened was that we were at Broadhead Manor and
Yeah.
doing, after the Moonbow Expo, we had a paranormal investigation. And I was in the room with a bunch of other people, and they had an EVP, they had a spirit box going, and Logan came through.
Wow.
Clear as day, Logan came through. And since then, I've been hooked on EVP.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
That may be his path. And Christina, if you
yeah,
learn how to do this, you never know.
yeah,
You never know.
yeah.
That may
It,
be his easiest way for him to connect.
it might be, and he loves that location. So, when I go there, I try to do that there. But the second time that I went back for an investigation, he didn't come through on the EVP, but boy, did he mess with his little brother. So, yeah, that was fun too. That was fun
That's so
too.
cool.
It is cool. It's cool that we still have communication, that we can still play
Yeah.
and talk to each other, and it's
And I bet
awesome.
there's tons more to come. Tons more to
I'm sure
come.
that there probably is because I think he's really enjoying it from the other side.
Finding his way.
Well,
Finding
his
his way.
personality, that would
Oh
totally be
yeah.
would
Oh
be
yeah.
that would totally be Logan.
And that's how you would know it is him because it's so distinct and it's you just know it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So what is something that you have caught on an EVP that really made an impact on you?
There was one in particular um, that it's not that it only blew my mind. I'm more into the phase of I don't get excited when I hear or see something anymore. I want to know why I hear or see it now.
Mm-hmm.
Now this particular EVP changed that, and it was at the Sally House. There were Deb was there and myself and a couple investigators, and we did a small investigation. We were up in Sally's room, and we had a candle lit in the center of the floor, and we all stood in a circle around it because the little girl there was supposedly fixated with fire.
Mm-hmm.
So we're standing there in our little circle, and Deb is asking questions. You'll hear it in the EVP capture. Um, she'll say, uh, "Come on, Sally, you can do it. Blow the candle out." And then she's quiet. We're all standing there, and out of nowhere, you hear
Oh,
this
wow.
breath sound, and then at the very end, you hear a whisper say, "Too hard, too hard."
Yeah.
And it was that when I capture that, I'd analyze that on the computer, and it's a class A,
Mm-hmm.
at best, if you're listening to it with headphones. Um, and when that hit me, it told me, okay, the spirits must have a mass. How can they produce the breath sound, or how can a breath sound be produced? Because I'm trying to debunk this at the same time.
Right.
How can that be produced? There's no air conditioning going. There's nothing that would time itself that accurately to sound as if it was a human breath, which is what that sounded like. And then at the end to say too hard, as if they tried to blow it
Mm-hmm.
out but couldn't. So it was an eye opener for me. And that's what told me, hey, there's a lot more out there than what I think.
Yeah, absolutely. That's crazy.
Yeah.
To make
Yeah.
a breath sound, I mean, that requires lungs or something, right? But they don't have
Something.
lungs. So how are they making that particular sound? That's a really good
Yeah. I'll
question.
I'll have to I'll send you the file. That way you can
Awesome.
listen to it and kind of see what I'm saying. It'll make sense once you hear it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way to play it on here, but um I don't know. I've lost touch with Zoom controls. But the thing the thing with them is each one is an experience. You know how some people they go out on investigations, they're all excited, they're pumped, and they see an apparition. They become frightened, they become startled, they run, um, and that's not a bad thing. That's just the body's way of saying fight or flight. Is
Right.
simply what that is. It's just your reaction. So normally the second time that happens, the person's a little more used to it, they're not going to be as startled, and they're going to start to question, okay, I see that apparition, but why don't I see any legs? Why don't I see any eyes? Why are the facial features this way? And you'll learn to study those kinds of things because they'll pop up, and they're
Mm-hmm.
all unique experiences.
Yeah.
You may see an apparition full bodied, just like you and I right now, and no one else around you sees it. That doesn't mean it
Yeah.
happened. That doesn't mean it didn't
Yeah.
happen. That means
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
your experience.
Right. Right. And that actually happens a lot in my world.
Yeah. I mean, you
Probably.
having
Yeah.
the psychic ability on top of it, Christina. See, you have the connection to
Mm-hmm.
where someone like myself, because I refuse to open,
Mm-hmm.
has to use a tool and methods in order to communicate. Your communication is almost instant, if not instantaneous,
Right.
as to where mine would be delayed. However, mine could validate yours.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, it's something tangible to hold. People could say, you could sit there and say, this gentleman's name is blah blah blah, blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden on the recording we get him saying his name, or we get something similar, some response to that topic saying it's the same person. Boom, there's validation.
Right.
And I'm not saying you can't get, excuse me, you can't communicate with them using spirit boxes and things like Staticom that's out now.
Mm-hmm.
These are all great things, but they're in a different category. They're in what's called ITC, or
Okay.
instrumental trans communication devices.
Okay.
EVP is strictly magnetic,
Okay.
and some digital. Digital's been accepted, but it's mostly magnetic. It's been around since the 50s. So it's been around.
That's interesting. I find it interesting that basically magnetic tape, right? That's what we're talking about. Magnetic
Yeah.
tape can record something that we can't see, touch, mostly can't even hear. I mean, some of us can hear it sometimes, but
Yeah,
really, it really depends on the spirits themselves. Like, what do they want to share, right? So,
absolutely.
I have been in investigations where there's an EVP or a spirit box running, and people are talking, as investigators are asking questions and that sort of thing. And I can just I'm sitting here watching the spirit on the other side of the room, just going, no,
It'll
I
blow
don't,
your mind.
I don't want to talk to that person, for whatever reason. Like they have their own reasons, right? But
Yeah,
yeah, but they can still choose. They can be standing right next to us and choose not to communicate.
absolutely. Every time. And
Yeah.
that's the frustrating part of it. And that's where, especially these new people coming in, have to understand that in this field, it's not all it's not all ghosts and sightings all the time. It's not all
Mm-hmm.
experiences all the time. There's a lot of waiting. And one of the key things you need to have is patience for one, common sense for two.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you get
Yeah,
more with sugar than you do vinegar. It's
absolutely.
things of that nature. So you prep the area because you may be dealing with a malevolent spirit. They were just cranky in life as in death, right? That's
Right.
what the saying goes. We don't know for sure, but that personality, this guy's cranky. You need to prep the area for an EVP session. You just can't go in there and start poking the bear.
No.
You've got to make some verbal announcements that you're not there to harm them. You're not there to take them away from their environment. You're only
Right.
there to communicate with them. You just want to talk to them, and that calms them down a little bit, I believe, and then preps the area for a better session, I think, with these recorders.
Right.
And it's worth a shot. I mean, we haven't tapped this resource yet, Christina, which I'm kind of shocked. Maybe I'm the only nerd involved with it now, but I'm kind of shocked that there wasn't more people, because there were some great, they were called EVP specialists back in the day. And
Mm-hmm.
there were some great ones back in the day that worked with them all the time with analog and programs like Audition and so forth. And they just kind of went to the wayside. And I'm hoping, my next project is going to bring them out a little bit. Hey, let's collaborate again. Let's try this because we have these devices out there now, and they're making some good communication.
Mm-hmm.
Staticom especially is making great strides with Ron and Tony
Mm-hmm.
and Lourdes. But there's more to it than just that. There's a
Right.
whole other area over here that just was the door was shut, locked, and welded.
Mm-hmm.
And well, damn it, I'm kicking the door open
Good for
because it's
you.
time.
Yeah, I got to meet Ron and Lourdes actually when I
Oh,
was in Massachusetts, and
they're awesome.
yeah, they really are. She is such a sweetheart. She really is. She's just an amazing human being. Um, and she's so enthusiastic about everything. She's
Everything. Yes.
everything. And I just love that. I love her energy.
Her energy is amazing.
It
And Ron
really
is a
is.
freaking genius. So is
He
Tony.
is. Yeah.
Tony Rathman is, my
Yep.
goodness, when the world of ITC, that's the first thing I think of is Tony Rathman.
Okay.
And of course Ron.
Right.
But I've known Tony quite a while, and there's a lot of okay, we'll compare the two because that's what a lot of people do is compare the
Hmm.
two. There's a lot more paperwork, a lot more math, a lot more science involved with ITC
Okay.
than electronic voice phenomena,
Okay.
than regular good old analog. Because there's more data collecting. Your digital equipment, it generates reports for you. It does so much stuff to where the analog equipment, not so much. You have
Right.
to know how to, let's say, read a natural tri-field meter, one of those bad boys. You have to know how to read one of those devices. You can't go in there with a tri-field meter and it goes where, and you think, oh, that's a ghost. Not necessarily.
No.
That's a natural disturbance. So this new equipment does everything for you. The Mel meter, everything's combined, and you have these super tools, and they're expensive, but they're
They are.
good. They're fun,
Yeah.
and they yield results. But the old stuff still works, and I know it's clunky. I know it's I know it's heavy to put into a backpack or
Yeah.
something of that, but it's so much worth it, Christina, just to try.
What's funny is that because the nature of humans is to always want to move forward, right? Well, like what's the next best thing? What's the new shiny thing that we can go
Yes,
to? And sometimes we just need to take a step back and go, well, that's new and shiny, but it's staticky. This is clear.
yes,
This is clear. Let's listen to this because this is clear and it just makes more sense right now. But
and
yeah,
and I've fought with myself all these years over clear EV. You want the EVP as clear as possible.
right.
Okay, you really do. You want people to understand it. That's what everybody strives for, is to understand that message. And you have an analog recording, and you're going to have that background, that shh, and behind there,
Mm-hmm.
which is also validating that that is an actual recording that hasn't been tampered with. Then you have on your digital side, it's crystal clear. It almost sounds to where it's been tampered with or even fake for that matter.
Right.
So that's why I hold my faith and always have, always will in the magnetic tape because it's like film. Remember film?
Oh
Those
yeah.
those who don't know what film is.
Actual film,
It used to go with a camera,
not digital
similar to film.
images. Yeah.
How
Yeah.
many, if you think about it, Christina, just for 1 second, you have a Polaroid camera. You remember those?
Oh yeah.
The old
Yes.
Instagraph, the Polaroid cameras. How many how many orb shots have you seen using a Polaroid camera?
Off the top of my head, none.
Zero.
Zero. Yes.
And it's
Yeah.
because of the mechanics of the camera.
Mm-hmm.
It's different. These newer cameras, they have those kinds of things, and it may see an apparition as a flaw and even erase it. So some of the old equipment still works. If it isn't broke, don't fix it, right?
Right,
That's
right,
what I'm going by.
right. Well, they're
And it
not
saves a
breaking
buck.
it, they're not fixing it, they're just replacing it.
Yeah.
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 But,
It's funny because in the last year, I've gone on a bunch of different uh, paranormal investigations with different people. And I'm just in shock, like where did all this stuff come from? Because when I was doing it, it was like, well, you might have had a K2 if
yeah.
if you could afford one then. They're not expensive now, but they were then. Um,
Yeah.
you know, people had cassette recorders that they were just recording on cassette recorders. And now I go back and I'm like, oh my God, there's grids, there's little trip wires, there's,
So much. Cat
oh,
balls.
cat balls. Cat balls. Let's talk about cat balls. Who came up with this idea? I mean, it's kind of ingenious.
It's the cat ball phenomenon.
It really
I don't know who came
is.
up with it, but those little plastic cat balls, I guess the spirits love those things. The little bells and such, the
They
noises, they're
do.
easier to
Yeah.
maneuver. I don't know. They've been knocking them around. I've never tried them. I'd probably trip over them and break my neck. But um,
There's-
I mean,
I have seen
and
them
that's what's
work though.
cool.
Yeah, I have seen them work though. But it's like, man, you go to the dollar store and get cat balls.
Yeah.
You don't
I mean,
need to
again,
spend a lot of money to get a cat
it,
ball, you
it's
know?
cheap. Make it
Yeah,
happen. Try
exactly.
different things. And I love seeing how this field it's evolving slowly.
Hmm.
Some quicker, some places quicker than other. It's balanced. It's evolving into the next generation
Right.
of paranormal research. And to watch that transition, to be able to see that transition, I'm very proud of that moment.
Yeah.
I'm an old school guy, and to see these this new equipment that's coming out. One in particular, his name's Austin Maynard. This kid is a freaking genius,
Okay.
and he's ITC as well. But he makes this sweeping equipment, and not only does he make it sweep well with the frequencies and so forth, but he makes it look cool. He made one that was a Darth Vader helmet, and I mean, it's just cool stuff. And to have people still active like that in the field, they're they're taking their time to make something to make your time more pleasurable, if
Right.
that makes any sense.
It does.
So you have to respect those kinds of people. They're pioneers. I mean, back in the day, Christina, this happened by accident. The whole EVP thing was by accident by a guy named Frederick Jurgensen, and he was a filmmaker. He was recording some bird songs and things like that. His mother, he captured his own mother when he went back and listened to it. He captured his own mother on the reel-to-reel recorder. EVP was born.
Wow.
This was overseas, and it was brought here to the United States by Sarah Estep.
Okay.
Um, and she's the one that introduced it here, basically. So it's still there. The field is still there. It's active. It's just everybody that's in it, I think, is asleep.
Well, not everybody, but yeah, I would agree most people. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are some who are awake and
Yeah.
and it's really, I mean, it's like I've sat back for the last 20 plus years and watched it evolve too. And sometimes I think it's devolving as far as, why are you doing this? When I got into it, it was all volunteer. It
Yeah.
was all out to help people. People had a problem in their home, they would call whatever paranormal research group
Yeah.
was near
Who was
them,
local.
whoever was local, to come in and say, please just tell me what's in my house and is it dangerous? You know, that's
Yeah.
that's where I picked up paranormal. That's when I stepped into it, was at that point. So yeah, watching it turn into, let's see how famous we can get and let's see who we can prove wrong. And oh my gosh, all the drama. And
Yeah.
that's, to me, that's devolving because it's really getting away from what is the point.
Bingo.
Yeah.
We're missing that.
Hmm.
And maybe if enough of us stand together and push this out there, maybe we can bring some of it back. I mean, I'm not saying we're going to get a pair of unity. I'm not. Oh my goodness, I'm not saying that.
It would be
That would be
nice,
rough.
but yeah.
That would be rough. That would be a
Yeah.
feat in itself. but just common sense, bringing it back, bringing people back down to earth. I mean, it's not about followers. I mean, sure, it's nice because your things are being seen,
Hmm.
but it's not all about that. It's
Yeah.
about the content you're putting out there. If you are an investigator and you captured some great evidence, you captured a photograph, share it.
Yeah.
For everything in me, share it
Right.
and you're going to get your trolls, you're going to get your people picking on you and so forth. Ignore those morons. They're just jealous because they didn't do it.
Right.
So you just ignore those people and you pick through those positive comments and you build your foundation from there.
Hmm.
Because there's people that'll come in and help and give advice for photos or I mean, people still email me EVP all the time. It's fun. I love it. I love getting emails like that.
Yeah.
And it's about this community is about teamwork. It always has been ever since I've come into it back in 24 years ago. I mean, it's evolved into something that just needs to slow down a little bit and realize what the big picture is.
Right. And kind of where the roots are.
Yeah,
And I'm not one for going backwards. I consider myself to be pretty progressive minded, but
sure.
maybe we just need to progress forward to get back there, like
Yeah,
progress forward into the next. This is why we're doing this. We're actually in this to help, and to help on this side and on that side, because
absolutely.
some of those spirits are stepping forward because they're lost and they
Yeah,
need
they're
help
stuck.
finding their way. Yeah. It is interesting to me going into some of the pay to play locations. I'm just going to call it that,
Yeah, that's what
where
they are.
yeah, and right in their rules, like not all of them, but some of them have you're not allowed to protect yourself. You're not allowed to bring
Ooh,
in protective Chris. No,
nope, that's
no,
personal.
that is not okay with me.
Mm-mm.
That is not okay with me. I don't care how
Exit
safe you
stage
say.
left.
Yeah, I don't care how safe you think your location is. No, I'm not doing that.
No,
I'm
no,
not
that is
doing,
unsafe.
yeah. And there are a lot of places that have you're not allowed to cross anybody over.
No.
I,
No, I don't agree with that
I
either.
don't agree with
Now,
that either.
where I will say with that is it is not my place as an EVP specialist to go in
Hmm.
there and cross somebody over. That is your job, ma'am. That is your job as a psychic medium
I think
to
that's up to
cross
the
somebody over.
spirits. I mean, if a spirit comes to me in any location, I don't care if it's outside my front door. If they come and say, I'm lost, I need help, I'm going to help them,
Oh, sure,
you
sure.
know?
But it's you that should assist them, not me,
Right. Well,
not
yeah,
someone like myself.
I get
If that
that.
makes any sense.
It does make sense. Yeah, I get that because that's my
There's a
job.
time where you need, with a lot of these cases, there's a time where you need to refer,
Hmm.
say, hey, I'm here. I'm doing the recordings for you. I'm analyzing those. But as far as that's concerned, you're going to have to contact a psychic medium. Now, I know one that you can, and you
Right.
refer,
Right.
and I'm very big on that because that's how some people get in over their heads when it comes to a lot of these malevolent investigations and
Hmm.
there's something a little stronger in there, you need to refer that out. You don't sit there and just leave the client as is. You refer
Right.
that out. Get some help in there, no matter who it is.
Right.
You know,
Exactly. Exactly. And I've got the contact information for exorcists if that's what's needed. But
yeah,
um
that's
I
why they're
don't
there.
yeah, and I don't run into a lot of that, but I don't think it's my
No,
job either.
no, I avoid a lot of that. You know, that's the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. It's
So it's an amazing field, though.
it
For the
is. It
most part,
is.
it really is, and it needs help like any other field does. But I
Growing
think it's
pains.
yeah,
There's some
definite
growing
growing pains.
pains. Yeah.
But I think this next generation's they're gonna calm down a little bit here before too long, hopefully.
Yeah.
Calm down a little bit and
Stop
realize
fighting with each other.
that they quit fighting and that it all and at the end of the day it comes down to the client helping them
Right.
and the spirit, of course.
Yeah, of course. I know that we have always been on the same page about that, and I'm hearing more and more podcasts about that too, where,
Hmm.
this is about helping. It's about helping people in and out of bodies. It's really about all of that. Then there's sometimes the spirits don't want to leave, like they're happy where
Right.
they are. And if then sometimes you find yourself, I don't know if you do or not, but I have found myself in a position of being a mediator between the homeowner and the spirit. It's like,
Yeah,
okay, how can we forge a verbal contract to live together? Basically,
exactly.
you know. So
Exactly.
yeah.
And you do. A lot of times you play counselor in that aspect doing
Hmm.
something like that. And sometimes you just have to learn how to live as one.
Right, exactly. Just consider them an invisible roommate.
Yeah.
I've had plenty of invisible roommates over the years. I can do that.
That's what I love about it though
Yeah.
is it's such a personal I'll say hobby because of that, because you
Hmm.
have so many personal experiences, whether they be sightings, audio, or even dreams.
Right.
They visit you in your dreams. These are all personal accounts that only you and you alone possess. And you could
Hmm.
tell people all day long, whether they believe you or not, it's up to them. It's not your job to prove that to them. You had that
Right.
experience. You know what it was, and that's what's important.
Right.
And you push aside the stereotypes as well. The people that think that EVP specialists like myself dabble in Satanism and all this
Oh
other
my God.
horsepucky stuff.
Yeah.
It's nothing
It's
nothing like that. Um,
yeah.
they compare it to the Ouija board, Christina, and it is communication. You are inviting them to communicate with you, but you protect yourself and you protect everybody around you, and you most of all protect the spirit too the best you can. So
Absolutely.
you
Yeah.
just don't go in there wailing a recorder. Hey, what are you guys doing here? It's not like that.
Yeah. I am happy to say though, I'm seeing more and more YouTube shows where or recordings, whatever you want to call them, but I'm seeing more and more of them where the paranormal investigators are introducing themselves.
Oh,
And they're saying, we just want to come and talk to you. We understand if you don't want to talk to us, that's fine. But
good.
we would like to tell your story. We want, however we can help you, let us help you. And I am seeing more and more of that.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
So I'm
That's
grateful
such a
to be
step in the
seeing
right
that.
direction.
It really is. It really is. And I'm
Oh,
very happy to be seeing more and more of that. Um,
absolutely.
and
Common
yeah,
respect.
yeah, absolutely. Uh, it's funny because I almost don't even watch TV anymore except for paranormal or cryptid documentaries. Like that's it. That's my TV
Pretty
viewing at
bad,
this
isn't it?
point. I know.
It's pretty bad.
But it's still like even on some of the shows, on some of the digital networks, not even on YouTube, but on some of the digital networks, I'm seeing more and more of that respectful behavior
Yeah,
in
that's good.
in the recordings, and I'm very grateful to be able to be seeing that because that's been a thorn in my side for a long time when people are not
Mine too.
respectful.
Mine too. That's a big relief.
Yeah,
And that change will travel quickly.
yeah,
And hopefully everybody adapts to that and just starts using the common respect again
right,
and realizing how much more that they obtain doing that. That's
right.
what's important.
And that might be the reason that everything is switching over to that now, or at least slowly making that transition, is that they're seeing that the people who are more respectful are getting better results.
Absolutely. I mean, it's all about results at the end of the day. That's why you're there.
Yep,
And you want to try and get the best you can with the time that you have there. Because some of these locations, like you said, these pay to plays,
yep,
geez, some of them are gold mines, but your clock is running as soon as you walk through that door.
yes, it
And
is.
the evidence you get, the data you get, you want it to be the best quality as possible.
Right.
And, you know,
Because you can't
it's,
really walk into a place and say, okay, spirits, I have 5 hours.
yeah,
What do you got?
yeah. Yeah, you walk in and flip over an hourglass. All right, let's go, guys. Let's roll.
Yeah, it doesn't exactly work that way.
Not at all. Just because it's haunted doesn't mean it's haunted all the time.
Right,
Too, you could go to these pay to plays and have nothing but static all night,
right.
and you just have to walk away with that as an
Just
experience that okay, maybe it's not haunted all the time.
right.
Or maybe it was, it could have been because you were in a bad mood that day and it didn't feel like talking with you.
Yeah,
You don't know. It's just
yeah.
nothing happened. It's like fishing. You go fishing and sometimes you don't catch a damn thing.
And both of these take a great deal of patience, fishing and paranormal investigation. So if,
Absolutely.
so if you're somebody who really needs to have like that excitement factor, you get more excitement factor on a roller coaster. Just go to a theme park. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
you
just
know,
do that.
just do that.
Just
Just do
hit the
that.
parks. Yeah, hit the park. Stay out of people's houses, please.
Yeah, because paranormal investigation takes a lot of patience, usually a lot of time. I mean, you might get lucky once in a very great while and just start getting evidence right away, but that usually doesn't happen.
Mm. It's rare.
Yeah,
It's
very
rare.
rare. So I want
That's
to hear all about your EVP explorations
oh,
podcast.
oh, sure.
Yeah.
Well, this was a thing. Just going back to my roots here, and those of you that have listened to me in the past, they know haunted voices and so forth. Haunted voices is no more. It's that show's not going to be coming back. That show's had its time, and what this show is about, EVP explorations, it is about analog recording solely. And I'm going to be teaching others from old school lessons that I wrote back in 2004. As a matter of fact, I just put the entire study guide out on Facebook for free to people for people to check out. But it's all going to pertain around my old study guide, the old methods, the way I was taught, what I was taught from people like Sarah Estep, Jason Snyder, people like that. And I'm putting those skills together and helping other people that want to try a new way of recording. Now, I'm also going to be having investigators on the show, field investigators, a lot of times on the show, to talk about their evidence, maybe display some of their evidence, and just talk about it, get the world or this community back into using some of the older ways to maybe get some better results. So it's mostly it's going to be a mixture of lessons and interviews and fun times. Just going way back in time a little bit with some older equipment, some older methods, and for a lot of people, a lot of veterans, it's going to be a refresher course. For new people, they don't even know what the hell an analog recorder is. So let's sit down and get it started, and we'll take it
Yeah,
apart piece by piece. That's what it's
right.
about.
Right. For those people who think that Walkmans are old school, right?
Yeah, the Walkmans.
Oh my gosh, the Walkmans. Wow, that's crazy.
But that's going to be
I've
hitting January of 2025, by the way.
January. Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. And where did you post that study guide?
That
On
is on Facebook under my profile and also on Haunted Voices fan page and
okay.
also on EVP Explorations fan page. They can just search EVP Explorations. It's on there
Awesome.
as well.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to digging into that a little.
It's a little wake up call. I went through there and I'm like, oh my goodness, I was such a precise technical writer back then. And I broke everything apart, Christina, and put it back together in a simple form. It shows everything from how to record it, what EVP is first, and then how to record it on a cassette recorder, and then how to upload that to your computer. All that's in that little study guide. And it's
Awesome.
got some little quotes and sayings that if you guys read that, take some time, you'll see that back in the day, this community was a community.
Hmm.
And some of those quotes are little wake up calls in there.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you for coming on.
Oh,
Finally, we got together. Thank
bless
you
you so much for having me.
for coming on, and just thank you for everything you've done for me that has gotten me to this point with doing shows and all of
I'm so
that.
pumped up and so damn proud of you, Christina. It's not even funny. I mean, you go, girl, and you continue to go. Don't stop.
You have been an amazing teacher, and I know that you will continue to be as well. So thank you.
Absolutely. I'm here for you. You
Thank
know
you.
that.
Thank you. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, tell your friends, share these videos. Let's get this important information out into the paranormal community. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining in and listening to us on Zone 5 Radio. Have a great day, everyone.